Welcome back, guys. Hope you guys are well and safe. It's the Brothers Geek Out podcast special. But today we have a special guest. So, Ashley Short, welcome to the Brothers Geek Out podcast with
Hi
me.
guys, thank you for having me. Appreciate that, man. Looking forward to this. Been wanting a long time to be on here, so
We recently started saying that we're going to get more guests on the show and just geek out, really talk and positive, send some positive vibes out into the world, some love. I'm going to be blatantly honest, I had a awful day, but that was just raw emotions coming out. And my brother said, listen, I was going to cancel. And my brother said, listen, man, we're going to have fun on this podcast. So just get on with it. You'll be fine. And it's true. As soon as I saw your face, Ashley, it just kind of took the pain away a little bit.
we're going to take care of you, brother.
And G-Man, Ashley, you guys met 2 years ago.
Yeah, certainly have.
Shazam, yes.
Yeah, and how you been, Ashley, since then? You've been good. Obviously, we spoke just before the podcast and whatnot. But you've been good, though, during that time period, since I haven't seen you.
Yeah, definitely. Just trying to stay safe, looking after my friends, looking after family, looking after people closest to me, and trying to look after everyone as well by masking up, putting gloves on, and just doing it. Yeah, just trying to set a positive example, trying to follow the guidelines, and at the same time trying to enrich my life, as well. Trying to stay creative, trying to do some writing, indulging in my comics, watching all the shows, trying to keep the brain matter kind of flowing and staying electrified. So yeah, doing well. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we're definitely going to geek out and touch base on all of that sort of stuff. But it's good to hear that you're just keeping safe and, as you said, following the guidelines and stuff, because that's just important. Whether you believe it or in it or not, it's just follow the guidelines. Let's try and get out of this mess that we're in. But hopefully, fingers crossed, man, with the whole vaccine initiative and these lockdowns, something will level up and we'll get back into normality, maybe end of this year. I know everyone was like, oh, wait till the next year, like 2021, like something's going to change on New Year's. Nothing's going to change, guys. It's like there's a process. We're going to go through it, but at least there's this vaccine initiative going on. And hopefully, man, end of this year. And hopefully we'll see each other another premiere if Kibble invites me. Because I don't get invited to these things.
It's not like that, man. It's not like that at all.
No, I'm saying, I'm just like Warner Brothers or Disney, man. I'm here too, guys. Like, please. I've come from Singapore. Or send me to the Singapore one. I'll be there. Anyway. Yeah, man. So what you been up to anyway? Like you said, you're keeping yourself creative and whatnot, and especially during these lockdown periods. Like, what are you doing to just, again, keeping your sanity, keeping you motivated, and what are you working on stuff?
Well, so like obviously I write reviews for our friend Tasman, the Aspiring Kryptonian. So I've been diving into that, which has been really nice because obviously comics stopped for a while, and I was so excited when they came back. It was awesome. So as soon as I found out that DC were producing new digital content, I dived onto that, started writing reviews, started to read more. So that was great fun. Tasman's got some great stuff over there, so I've been kind of in communication with her, and yeah, that's been really good. I've kind of been dabbling with the idea of maybe trying to write a novel. It's been like a lifelong dream of mine to have something tangible of mine to hold on to, like Kibbs, like with your comic strip, with the comic book that you're in the process of trying to create, just to have something tangible that I can hold and leave behind, kind of thing. So I don't know what the context is going to be yet. I don't know what the content is going to be yet, but just loosening up a bit. The reviews are helping, so I want to get into that mindset of attempting to write a novel one day, pretty soon.
That's
hopefully.
awesome. Have you got like ideas and stuff in your head or written down or some kind of template in place? I can't even imagine writing like 3 pages, let alone 400 or whatever, however long a novel is. How do you even think about something?
Oh
God.
I think the worst thing to do is kind of like what I have been doing is like deep diving into all this kind of really awesome science fiction stories, like Edgar Rice Allen and Star Wars and Alien and all these really great franchises. The only problem is that when you start writing, you're almost writing what you've just watched. So I'm trying to balance it out because I just can't stay away from this stuff.
Yeah.
But I've got to try and stay away from it so I can write something pure from the mind. So I don't know how I'm going to do it, to be honest, guys. But yeah, it's definitely a work in process. I've got some ideas down. I've got some bits and bobs in the works. So we'll see. But that's definitely been the priority. I've always loved writing. It's been it was my favorite subject at school.
Yeah.
So I want to finally put it to practice. And like I said, I have been with the reviews, so that's helped me out a hell of a lot. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. I was going to ask you about the reviews. Like, how did you get into it? Is that based on your passion for writing, and what made you get into like comic reviews rather than anything else, or is it just because you enjoyed the content and you wanted to write about it? How did that come about?
Well, I mean, it's just like lucky enough to be through the social media. Obviously, Tasmin, who's like a great friend of all of ours, she kind of contacted me. Not originally for reviews, actually. We kind of liked each other's posts and, commented on various tweets and what have you. One day she just asked me out the blue if I was any decent or any good at writing and would I like to come on board and write some reviews. And I just jumped at the chance. I didn't kind of second guess or anything.
Awesome.
We'd already met a couple of times in person at conventions and various things. So we got on really well and it was like a hand in a glove kind of situation. So, yeah, I've been doing it ever since. I think it might be 3 years this Christmas.
Oh, that's awesome.
Been over 2 years. So yeah, it was more like she found me, and we've just kind of cracked on ever since. And I know she's expanding. We've got like a new guy on board, David Evan, who's like smashing it. His reviews are great. So yeah, that's been a great help. So it just feels like being a part of something, and I couldn't be more happier and prouder to be writing content for such a great couple of people. So that's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's the people behind the content.
Of course.
You find out more about their personal lives and what makes them tick, and you kind of want to do it in the end out of love more than anything else. I mean, you don't want to let people down, and that's kind of like our kind of structure. Where I just don't letting her down, even when I perhaps have missed a review or I haven't had time. I feel so bad to kind of roll up and say this and I can't do it this time. So I always try and smash it out of the park every time. So yeah, it's all about the people at the end of the day and the friends that you cultivate from it, and just not wanting to let them down and being the best you can be for them and for yourself as well. So
yeah, man. I mean, that's the testament of your character, like as you're saying, you don't want to let them down. That's your emotions getting involved with letting someone down, and that's the testament of your hard work and just you care, right? If you didn't care, you'd be like, well, I'm not doing it this week, right? But for you to feel that way just goes to show that you care for it, and that's amazing. I love the hustle. I've been talking to Kibbs about. And one of the reasons why we wanted to do this with people is just learn about other people's hustle. We're all hustling in our ways. And I find that inspiring. I love to listen to people's stories and how they've kind of turned their passion into, whatever they're doing. Like, even if it's not their full-time job, they're just doing it. And I love to hear those stories because it kind of inspires me, And it's great to hear that you got the book in your mind and you planted that seed at least. So that's going to happen in the future. So, that's amazing, man. What got you into comics anyway? You're obviously a geek like us. Where did it start, man? Who was the inspiration? Who introduced you? Who's your where was the beginning of your comic book journey?
That's one. I think I think you guys will probably kind of relate to this, but like there's certain like imagery and iconography that just seems to be there. Like before I understood who like Superman was, his emblem was already in my mind. I already associated the crest, the symbol with the character before I understood who the character was.
Yeah.
So the characters seem to have always been there, either through watching cartoons or films. So I would say it's always been there. But when I look back, it's a couple of things. It's seeing Superman on TV, Superman the movie from '78. It just being on a random Sunday afternoon on terrestrial TV.
Yeah.
And it being on, that's definitely one. I go back to kind of like 1995 when the Judge Dredd film came out. And they released a kind of comic magazine. Yeah. I remember running to my local shop every other weekend
to grab
about 6 in the morning because I had it in my mind that if I didn't get it then, they'd run out and get in that. So I always pinpoint that. And finally, I was lucky enough, my post office, which is literally just a 2-minute walk down the road, used to do comic book grab bags. And if I was good after school, my mum would buy like a £1 or £2 grab bag for me. And it would have these beautiful comics inside and things that I'd only really kind of like I said, I've had the imagery in my mind, but now I'm actually putting that imagery into context and seeing it on the page. So yeah, they're the kinds of things that I look back on and go, they're what got me started. And then of course the Panini British Marvel comics, like Wolverine Unleashed and the X-Men comics. So that's probably where it started for sure.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And you mentioned Superman a few times. Is he your go-to? Is he your guy, or who's like your most favorite, or the one you relate to the most, or the content that you love reading the most about?
I'm gonna say, well, even though I do write for a Superman blog and I love Superman, he's not actually my favorite character.
Okay.
Daredevil's my favorite character.
Daredevil. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, he has been for the longest time. I even find myself referring to him by his name, Matt. So that's when you kind of know that you're involved, invested, because you're talking about them like that, like they're an actual friend. So, yeah, I've always been a fan of Daredevil for as long as I can remember. I just love the hard-boiled stories that Frank Miller told.
Yeah,
I'm all about that kind of writing. I really like hard-boiled, hardcore, serious noir tales. That's my real passion. Obviously, like Frank Miller was gone on to do Sin City after Daredevil, and
that's right.
300 and things like that. But it's all kind of from the same place. It's all very gritty, hard boiled, and yeah, Daredevil's my guy, really.
Did you catch the Netflix shows? What do you think of that? Did they do your character justice? Did you think?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, yeah, I loved those shows. Yeah, that third season with the introduction of Bullseye and that office scene was just incredible.
Awesome.
I didn't think they could do it.
Yeah,
Making weaponry like pencils a weapon and scissors and things, and it was amazing. I absolutely adored that show, and I was gutted that it got cancelled, unfortunately.
yeah.
Well, fingers crossed, right? The rumors are true of him appearing in Spider-Man or in the MCU. I was watching this Kevin Feige interview and whatnot, and I was telling Kibbs about it. And when he was asked that question, his response was just like blank face. There was no yes, there was no, there was nothing. So I kind of feel like he's, if it was no, he would have shut it down. But I think Marvel, they listen to their audience, right? They fan please a lot. So I just got this strong feeling that he's gonna be in the MCU and probably show up in Spider-Man because he's our Daredevil now, right? We don't want
He is.
Charlie Cox, right?
Charlie
We,
Cox
we,
is,
I can't see anyone else. Marvel's so good at casting an actor, a face, I guess, to our characters. We don't want to see no one else. Wait, what did you think of season 2? Because I know a lot of people thought season 2 wasn't that great. I am a Punisher fan, a diehard Punisher. So my guy's Punisher, right? So I love that show. Biasly, I've seen that season like 3-4 times because of the Punisher. What did you think of that season?
Oh, I absolutely adored it. I thought it was a great way to bring in a new character like Frank, and Frank and Matt really do go hand in hand. They are two sides of the same coin, and that whole courtroom scene where he's shouting out, "I am the Punisher." I watched that episode a bunch of times, so I absolutely loved season 2 as well. I thought it was great, and a great way to lead into his own series, which I've loved as well. They really do deep dive into the death of his family. It's not as straightforward as what it may be in the comics or has been. Obviously, it's very layered and textured, and obviously relates back to his time in the army. So it just goes to show, especially with Frank, the things that you do in your past will always catch up with you and play some kind of role in the future. So yeah, no, I loved season 2. I loved the whole thing, and I was sad to see the whole Netflix New York Defenders kind of package leave us as it did. I thought there was a lot more room for stories to be told.
They could have.
But no, yeah,
well,
it was
fingers
great.
crossed, man. Fingers crossed they do show up in the MCU. I think Marvel's good like that. They know what they're doing, and hopefully, apart from Iron Fist, I mean that one was not. My personal opinion, that one wasn't that great. So maybe redo that one and get everyone else back. But yeah, my favorite episode was episode 4, I think it was. When he gets arrested, when Punisher gets arrested. It's that scene when he's they're in the graveyard and he starts telling Daredevil his story and about his little girl grabbing him and the tear come down Matt's eye. Like that gets me. That gets me all the time. It's my favorite episode.
Yeah, that's a good episode.
One of my favorite lines was in Daredevil was when he said, "I'd rather die as the devil than live as Matt Murdock." I think that line for me kind of solidified these guys know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
the dialogue in these movies and these shows are great. So yeah, I hope to see them real soon.
Well, they got a lot of. They took a lot from what Frank Miller did in Marvel Comics when he did Daredevil. So to see that, I'm going to give a little bit of a backstory of how I officially met Ashley. Now, I think it was 2018. MCM announced Frank Miller is coming to the UK London MCM Comic Con, and I was like, oh my god, I need to check my bank account. Let's do this. You know, it was just like, Frank Miller, I'm never gonna get this chance. Let's do this. Let's just fork it out. You know, and I was like, it's gonna be a great opportunity to see a great writer, great artist, and you know, this guy is like pinnacle to pop culture because of what he did with Daredevil, and then what he did with Batman as well. With what he did with the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Returns, it's just like mind blowing stuff. But it was there. We met so basically, was it so MCM Comic Con? I think it was a Saturday. I went for both days. Saturday I went and I met Ashley in the queue, and I can't even remember what the first conversations was because it was just before us meeting. I know we were like really like angsty before we met Frank and got our thing signed. And
so wait, you guys never spoke on Instagram, Twitter, none of that stuff. You guys met in the line.
Yeah.
Awesome.
we met in that queue. We spoke about what we were going to get signed, I think, and then I think that day we did. What did we do? That day we did the Q&A session with Frank Miller as well. And I had my little stumble when I was like, "Oh, you worked on Wolverine. What was that like?" And he was like, "Oh, it's great." But it sounded like I just woke up. So everybody was laughing and the rest of it. But then it was the following day.
Yeah.
Went back because I couldn't get my comic signed by John Romita Jr. And his queue was horrendous.
Yeah.
It was like the longest queue ever. Every time I went back to his queue the day before, I met Ashley. So I met him in the queue. So John Romita Jr. I waited on Saturday, and I went back there Sunday morning, knowing that there was a wedding gonna happen the following.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember I had to go to a wedding straight after, and Ashley, he saw me sitting in the queue, and he, being such a kind-hearted soul, bought me a packet of crisp and water because I was sitting for like 3-4 hours. And we kind of just geeked out from then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The train home, I jumped in the car, and then it was mad. And that's how this friendship has become. And then found out he knew Tasman, and then this community we have, which is absolutely amazing. It's such a small world, and like
it just makes the convention scene so much more pleasurable to go to because you've got people there, or you even plan to go with them, and it's just a beautiful thing. You know, you don't go on your own, or you can experience all these fun moments together. Like I remember that Q&A panel; it was so much fun, and it was really great. So yeah, I always joke, Gibbler, when I say that how I met you. I say that our eyes met across a PAX convention floor, and I knew you were my guy ever since. So exactly, we've done some fun stuff since as well. Like we went to Hollywood Babylon, and we went to the Jane Silent Bob reboot premiere.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Showing. So
yeah, we've done. Oh man, I do miss it, dude. I miss having a burger and a comic book shop. That's the main thing, man. That's what I miss out in the time that we haven't got to see each other. But yeah, that's how we met, and it's been tight knit ever since. And dude, thank you for always supporting the channels. That's the main big key. You've always been a supporter, and recently getting my artwork out there. That Devil one that I shared, and you shared it had like 1,000 reposts and shit like that. And I was like, what the fuck? What happened there? And I was like, that's amazing. And that's just from one person doing that. You know what I mean?
It doesn't take much, does it? Just to show a bit of love.
Of course. And yeah, no, it's been sweet ever since. And like, we get to geek out once in a while.
Yeah, exactly.
But since the shops have been closed, I miss Orbital, man. I miss Orbital, man. I miss going out there and just being there with people. Miss just that presence, that moment that I could say run out Saturday morning and say, look, I'm gonna meet up with Ashley. We're gonna go grab some burgers and comics.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. Well, at least we're conversating now, man.
Yeah.
I mean, even though we can't see each other in the physical form or whatnot, but this situation has forced this, you know what I'm trying to say? Like this thing that we're doing right now, because I haven't spoken to Ashley in 2 years. And, you know, if I wasn't stuck in London now, we wouldn't be doing this. You know what I mean? It's like the universe works in its funny ways and things just happen. Just like the universe, the way it worked and your eyes met and you bought him a packet of crisps or something. You know what I'm saying?
That's the best money ever spent.
Oh, no, dude, leave. That's bought a friendship now. But,
That's
Was the
amazing.
Frank Miller ticket, my friend.
but no, it was like seeing you doing your reviews and having an idea of getting a book together. And I know how hard it is to keep creative and keep positive. And I know just before the podcast, I told you I had a little meltdown today because of the way things are going and the amount of things that have happened. But I always try and push out a positive note. And even when it comes to my social media, that is trying to be as positive as possible, so somebody can look at the post and have a smile or a laugh or something like that. And and it's hard to keep like that, because then you sometimes give off a perspective of, shit, this guy's look like he's having the time of his life. But nah, man, guys, you need to know, shit, there's always something happening in the background.
Exactly.
But if we filter the internet with negative vibes, it's gonna take over, and it's not something not many of us want to do. But we're all human beings, man. We're all going through our own shit. So try and spread some love, some goodness. That's the main part of it. You don't know what people are going through, and it's hard because not everybody's gonna say, "I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay." Like, I'm not okay. So it's trying to spread some positive love out there and just let them know that, look, man, there's loads of good things to be about. I'm not sure if you guys seen. I don't know, Gilman. You saw it briefly when I saw you last, but I watched it twice now, again by myself. That movie Soul is beautiful. I'm not sure if you've seen that yet, Ashley.
No, I haven't seen that yet. Is that the one with Chris
Jamie
Pratt and the Tom Holland?
No, that's Onwards.
Oh right, no, I haven't seen
That
it
one's
either
good
yet.
as well. That one's a creeper. That one.
Okay.
All right, that
I
one
haven't
got
seen
me.
that one.
That one's actually really good with Chris Pratt and Tom Holland. It's called Onwards. It's a Pixar movie as well. But this one, Soul, with Jamie Foxx. It's about a musician just ready to get the best thing happen to him, and then he kind of passes away, and then he goes through a journey into the afterlife in a different way. But the solid meaning in that movie, and with the current situation we're going through, I'm not even going to spoil it. I'm going to wait for Ashley to see it, and then we geek out later
Yeah,
on.
definitely.
But catch it, guys, if you get the chance, definitely.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
Yeah, do watch it. It's a heartwarming movie, and you're gonna feel good. I mean, Pixar movies, all of them, you come out of it feeling good, and a roller coaster of emotions for it. But this is one of them, so do check it out. So good.
Oh, I don't agree with that, G-Man.
What do you mean?
What about that one with the emotions, Inside Out?
That was emotional, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was emotional. It did have a good ending, but there was a section in there. I'm not sure if you've seen that, Ashley.
I have, yeah, I have, yeah.
So there's a part where she's talking to her imaginary friend that he lost, Bing Bong,
Oh yeah.
and that scene where he was like, "Remember me," because they were trying to get up some mountain, and he fades away. Shit, man, it's got me now just talking about it. My heart's trembling, man. I was in tears, man.
But they're not to get you. What about Up? The beginning gets you in tears. Remember, have you seen Up?
I haven't. But what about Coco? Another one.
Another one, exactly. So I mean, all the Pixar movies get you. They're so amazing, and it's an animation. Like, it's like, I don't know. The way they pull them together, the stories and whatnot through an animation is absolutely amazing.
No, they've done a good job, man. I love them. Absolutely love them. But Soul, make sure you get to watch Soul, because it's such an important movie.
One of the streaming services right now. I think I've seen an advert for it, so I'll be on that for sure.
No, definitely.
But
no, definitely check that out. Definitely check that out. So we were talking about The Mandalorian as well, G-Man, before. And like, I know this is going to probably come out like mid-March, but the excitement of if you guys haven't seen it and it's like middle of March now and we've released this podcast and you're like, they spoiled it for me. Where the hell you guys been, man? Where the hell you guys been?
Division now.
Exactly. Talk about Mandalorian. My nephew, I got him into. Well, I always kept on humming the theme tune to myself. Yeah. It's one of those so catchy that I'll just find myself singing it to myself. And then my nephew getting on it. He got on it. He's like 3 years old, and now he's all about the Mandalorian. But the music, the soundtrack, and we have the piano version, we have the guitar version, we have the normal version, the rock version. And all he does is like, Uncle, Mandalorian. And I just play the YouTube videos and we just sit there.
You gotta watch it with him.
I tried to today. So it starts off with the beginning of the soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
In the background, but then you see the characters, and then he was like, okay, he was there, he was in it, and then he sees Mandalorian, and he was just like, but then once the action started and the music went down, he was like, Mandalorian, Mandalorian. I'm like, this is the Mandalorian, but he just wants to hear the music. It's such a great show, man. I think that's one thing I left with my nephew, like the Mandalorian soundtrack.
No, it's good. The soundtrack's great, but just in general, like the way they set this up, like I'm going to be honest with you guys, when they were talking about this, I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was.
No, for sure.
I genuinely thought that it was going to be, mind my language, but a shitty TV program, Star Wars based, that was going to come off what the last. Well, I'm not going to say those prequel, the recent trilogy was that bad, because I still enjoyed it. There's certain things, but I thought it was just going to tail off that, and I was like, oh man, it left me in such a sour place. Like, it was good fun. It's just a good movie to watch, but it won't be one of those ones where I'll be like, oh, that's a classic, you know?
Yeah.
So when they did that to The Mandalorian, I was like, hold up, man, who did this shit? And it was like, oh, John Favreau.
Of course, yeah.
Oh my God. Like, instantly, I was like, after that first episode and they showed the post-production artwork, I was like, okay, this is going to be mad. This is going to be totally mad. And they made it into like it was supposed to be like what they did with the original trilogy was that it was like a space western opera movie, where he brought that back into this like so badly. Like, I was like, oh my God, he's done something really basic, but he's done something to capture me, and I don't know what it was, and it stuck with me now. And after that episode that we all probably cried, laughed, scream at. When did you realize it was him?
Well, I mean, like you said, The Mandalorian as a whole has been very sort of inside baseball for Star Wars fans. I mean, the characters that have been appearing, I never thought I'd see. I don't want to name any names or anything, just in case anyone hasn't seen it, but there are some characters in there that are very, very sort of, deep dives into Star Wars mythology.
Yeah.
So I think it was by kind of like episode 3 of the second season where I thought, okay, anything can happen now. Yeah. Anyone can turn up. And I think there was obviously talk of a Jedi appearing in it, just through how the story was progressing.
That's right.
And there was talk on social media and the various outlets that, it could be someone well established. It could be something completely new. It could have been some of the Star Wars Rebels characters. But then
just
obviously...
Spoil shit out of it, man. Spoil shit out of it. Come on, man.
Well, yeah. So as soon as we saw that X-Wing landing, it couldn't really be anyone else, could it? And just the way that they done it, obviously, I would have preferred if Sebastian Stan could have been in it. He is under the umbrella already. He is part of the family.
Agreed.
But yeah, the way they done it was great. They obviously kept the hood on, very sort of Return of the Jedi, and he just in house. And I was losing it big time, like a lot of people were. I wish I'd done a reaction video of myself watching it, like so many else have, because it would. It would have been incredible, but yeah, I loved it.
Some of those videos are quite genuine because they already knew Luke was coming, so they pre-recorded themselves again. So it wasn't. I didn't feel like it was like I saw a lot of those reactions. I was like, I don't know, but because like what my wife said, she was like, Kibbs, you were sitting down. You saw basically my reaction was saw the X-wing land. I was like, oh shit! So I kind of levitated off the seat. So I levitated off the couch, and she goes, "You just draw to the screen, like you even missed all of the Lara's toys, and went straight to the TV." And then I kind of like just put both my hands in my mouth, biting them, like, "Holy shit! They actually did it." The moment I saw the lightsaber, I was like, "Fuck! Oh shit! It's him."
Yeah.
And I was like, I was emotional, you know.
Yeah, so was I, big time.
Yeah, I was emotional. I was like, my voice was trembling. She was like, "What's wrong? What the fuck? What's going on?" And I'm like, "So they fucking did it." I was like, "Oh, they did it. They actually did it." She's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Luke fucking Skywalker. Like, they really did it. They genuinely like pulled my heart out of my mouth and
Sure.
did this amazing scene that would be stuck with me forever. And I feel like he's given a bit of redemption to Mr. Mark Hamill himself. But if
Yeah.
you guys ain't seen it, sorry guys, spoilers. As Kevin Smith says, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers,
Spoil the shit out of it.
spoiler
Well, they
shit.
gave him justice, and they gave him such a great action scene for that short period. Like we really
Yeah.
saw him use the Force and the saber in a way that we've never seen him use it before. Right?
Yeah.
Remember Vader had his moment at the end of Rogue One that we've never seen Vader do that before in that fashion.
Yeah.
And now they gave Luke his shine, which was awesome. I mean, I've said it on the podcast before, and true Star Wars fans might hate me for this, but for me, I'm not the craziest Star Wars fan. I'm a huge fan, but not the craziest. But for me, The Mandalorian's been my best Star Wars content. When it comes to Star Wars, I would say Mandalorian for me has been the best Star Wars content. And I know so many people who's not even into Star Wars or any of that sort of stuff, but it was something about that show, the relationship between, you could say, father and son or whatnot, that just grabbed people, and
Yeah.
it was more than what people might think Star Wars is, which is like some sci-fi futuristic shit, whatever. But this had it's kind of like that Luke and Vader father and son story, but with a baby. I don't know. It just worked so. It was just
Yeah.
amazing. But
No,
yeah, that scene was amazing. But I remember my nephew was making noise, and I was just like, oh my god, this is like I didn't want to swear because normally I swear too much. I was like, oh, fucking hell, fuck. But my little nephew was there, so I'm trying to control myself. He's making noise, so I can't really appreciate it. So after we saw it, I went straight upstairs and watched it again to really get into it. But yeah, no, what a great
Dad
show,
on
man.
the phone as well, right?
Dad was on the phone making noise. Me and my little brother, me and Ash, we were just trying to geek out, and we would just be like, I was kind of in denial. I was like, it can't be. Like, they wouldn't put Luke in a show like this. No, it can't be. Who is it? Why does this person look like Luke? Why has he got the green say? I was so in denial. And when he took off, I was like, holy shit, they fucking
They did it.
yeah, man, throwing all the money. And I know people were cussing the CGI. Forget about that. I don't care about that. Like they just throwing all the money, man. And like, even WandaVision showing now, like I heard that's like the most highest expensive show ever, I think. If I've got my facts correct, but more than Game of Thrones and all that stuff, like Disney's throwing all the money on these shows. They're not TV shows. These are movies, man. These are movie budgets that they're throwing at these shows. So it's crazy. It's crazy. I was like, I don't know. Again, fan pleasing, but in the best way possible.
No, it is. It is. Are you so? Actually, you looking forward to Falcon and Winter Soldier?
I am indeed, yeah. Winter Soldier is one of my favourite characters. I loved the story arc that he was introduced in back in the day. Steve Epton and Ed Brubaker. I fell in love with him then. I loved his portrayal in the MCU. Winter Soldier is my favourite film as well.
It's one of mine as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Falcon, I've really grown to love as well. I think he's a superb character, and yeah, I just can't wait to see them together. It's going to be like a buddy cop movie, kind of a buddy cop superhero movie.
Definitely.
We saw a bit of the banter in Civil War.
That's right.
So I'm really looking forward to it. Really excited. I'm just kind of wondering, is it going to be the same structure as WandaVision, like only 22-minute episodes, or is it only going to be 8 episodes?
I think it's going to be, again, this is coming from Feige's mouth, like I know him and whatnot, but I love watching his interviews. He did say these ones will be, I think it'll be like 6 episodes of like 45 minutes, whereas WandaVision is like 8 episodes of 20 to 30 minutes or whatnot. But yes, yeah, that's going to be nice long episodes are nice.
Yeah, no, definitely, without a doubt.
So looking forward to that. And I mean, these are not spoilers, and I'm not going to say it and whatnot, but there's loads of things that come out on the internet and whatnot, and I found out some other characters are going to be in it. Marvel has released that news, so it's not a leak or anything, but I'm not going to say it. I don't want. If you guys don't know, then it's best not to know. But
no, I don't know, bro, because I think I saw an image. I had to scroll past it. I think I have to stop using my phone so often because I keep seeing things I'm not supposed to see, so I'm gonna stay away. I'm gonna stay away because
that's the problem, man, with the internet, man, and then social media. Everyone just posted stuff, and when Marvel want you to see an ad, they'll get you to. If it's Marvel, they'll get you to see the ad, right? Whatever it is. So you have to. If you don't want to see any spoilers, then you gotta scroll through. Because I mean, I know they're promoting WandaVision and whatnot, but I don't need to see a trailer for the next episode. I'll wait till next Friday. Don't worry. Or just give me the damn episode. I'll give me the whole season. I'll watch it in one day. But if you don't tease me all the time, I'll wait. But Marvel, they're good at just promoting, man. But I think these shows, they're
They
just
did
going to
their
be.
work, bro. Think about it, man. If it wasn't for movies like the first X-Men, Blade, what else we're talking about? Going back to Sam Raimi, Spider-Man's, we wouldn't get somebody like Kevin Feige say, you know what, listen, man, we can actually build a universe out of this. And remember, he was on like production when they first did the first X-Men movie, so he probably learned shitloads from that and the feedback from that when he was at 20th Century Fox to move over and do what he's done here now. So yeah, interesting times. What's your thoughts on this new Zack Snyder Justice League?
Oh boy, yeah, it's definitely been a saga and a half for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just glad. I'm glad for the fans because they've
Mm.
like really pushed it. Myself, yeah, I'm just super stoked that it's going to finally come to fruition. I think it's horrible as an artist or a creator to have um like a blotch on your docket kind of thing, like to have red on your ledger,
Of course,
as
yeah.
Black Widow would say or Loki would say. I think this is something that he needed to do. It's yeah, it's I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. It's heard it's going to be an R rating, which is
Yep.
exciting.
I read that.
Heard it's going to be 1 hour episodes over 4 consecutive kind of nights or episodes. So I'm hyped for it. I'm so excited. I'm glad that so many people that worked on this film are finally going to see their hard work rewarded at the end of the day.
Definitely.
I think Joss Whedon, he took a lot of flack unnecessarily. I think he came in at the 9th hour and pulled the proverbial rabbit out of the hat, really, with what he had to work with. I mean, they wanted him to make a new film with the same budget, same kind of release date. So I think he's done a great job with what he had to work with. But this is definitely Zack's vision, and I'm just pleased for everyone involved. I think it's just a good feeling that it evokes, everyone getting what they want. A bit like with Luke in The Mandalorian.
Exactly.
We wanted it. The studio knew, I think they could sense that there's some unease, some unrest. Let's just give them what they want. This time, let's give them what they want. And that's what I feel this is.
Yeah, no, definitely. We've had that. So. It's been a long, was it? Almost coming up to what, 3-4 years now? Yeah, so it's been a battle. It's been a long battle. And I want him to get his, as an artist myself, as we're all creators in our own ways, yeah. To leave like an unfinished project and due to circumstances he had is horrific. I'm glad that he's getting the chance to get this out there, because I'm a big Zack Snyder fan. I've always loved his work.
Yeah.
All the way from when he did his was it The Living Dead, the remake?
Yeah, I think it was Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead, that's it. Yes, so he did Dawn of the Dead, and I was like, man, this is and I can see where he got his inspiration from all the older movies and stuff like that. So then seeing him come up in the game when he did 300, you're like, holy shit, this guy has a visual style in his head that it got stuck with me, because I was like, I'm watching a painting here. That's his work. He way he frames things, the way he does things. He does paint. That's paint, man. That's a painting on somebody's wall. I'm like, what the fuck? This is amazing. 300 blew it out of the park for me. And then he did a movie called Sucker Punch, which didn't get the best reviews, but the visuals are stunning, and I love that. And I want him. I'm gonna start a hashtag soon. I want him to do Fist of the North Star.
We've been saying that for ages, right? Zack Snyder, Fist of the North Star.
If anybody's going to put a visual to anything, it's going to be him. He would. Oh my god, he'd smash that movie, because I want him to do something with an anime style, which I think he'd do good. Because if you've seen most of us have seen all of his movies.
Yeah,
he has this certain tone and technique that he does in his filming, which is beautiful. And Man of Steel showed me that he could do. He could definitely do a Fist of the North Star movie, because that last fight scene was a Fist of the North Star fight scene. Because you're like, what the? How did he?
Yeah, and that's like anime, Dragon Ball, and all that sort of stuff. The way they were fighting and
exactly.
Yeah, we've been saying it for ages. He needs to get that job.
He needs to. Snyder, if you're listening to this, dude, and I know you've been listening to a lot of stuff, please, man, take on Fist of the North Star. I'm telling you, I'll back you. I'll sell my house.
Why don't you fund him?
But yeah,
you know what? Saying about the Justice League, and I was listening to Kevin Smith and Mark Bernard and Fat Man Beyond. Yeah. They said it's going to be from their sources. It's a 4-hour movie. I don't know if they're gonna do the 1 hour. They were talking about the 1 hour episode, but I think they're just gonna release it as a 4 hour movie. So get your popcorn ready, empty your bladder, and sit down. But at least at home, right? Good thing is, right? In one way, because I do miss the cinema, and hell yeah, I'll go watch a 4 hour movie in cinema. But the one thing being at home, you can at least enjoy it. 4 hours, you don't have to, you can pause it if you need to go to the toilet or whatever. But that's gonna be a night where, and if I'm still in London, Kibla, we're coming over to yours and movie night, bro. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
order pizza or something and just sit there for 4 hours and enjoy this.
But no, cinema. Like, I mean, Ashley's a big cinema goer as well, and that's one thing that has been taken away from us. I mean, the last film, luckily, before the third lockdown kicked in, I got to see Wonder Woman 1984 in IMAX, which was a great just to be back in the cinema again and out and just talking about the film to people and stuff like that. But then before that was Bill and Ted, Face the Music. Yeah. I'm not. What was your last movie, Ashley?
So my last movie was Tenet.
Ah.
I saw Tenet at my local cinema, and like they've done a great job. As soon as you could walk into the establishment, you could sort of smell like the kind of the disinfectant in the air. You could, there was lots of hand wash everywhere, and I thought they looked after us pretty well. I won't say too much about the film. I didn't have the greatest experience with it, I must say. Not one of my favourite Christopher Nolan films, to say the least. But I felt like I was taken care of and looked after. So hopefully they can kind of keep that up when the rollout begins of cinemas opening.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I really hope.
They did. I think they done a good job, and they segregated the seats, right, and all that sort of stuff. So they took the precautions and stuff.
They did.
But yeah, no, with that movie, I mean, like, we don't have to talk much about it, but I think I know what you're talking about. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I think it was so complicated that you just don't enjoy it because you don't know what the hell's going on. I felt a lot of people had the same sort of thing. They're like, I don't know what's going on, so how am I supposed to enjoy something that I don't know what's going on? And I found myself just like trying to focus, being like, all right, this is going to be a trick and this is going to be that. And I even found myself, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I still enjoyed it. But I get it. When someone tells me, oh, I don't know about Tenet, I understand, because it is too confusing. I think you confuse the shit out of people, and it's like, well, I can't.
What? I'm gonna say something because I know Christopher Nolan. His work palette at the moment is extraordinary, and he started off. He's embedding this inception seed in our head for a long time, where he will make his film the way he wants to and the way he wants to explain it. And props to him for that. But Tenet, you have to watch. I watched it, I think, 3 times now, and I've kind of got a glimpse of what's going on, but I still don't understand it because the guy does his research when it comes to science.
Yeah.
So where in Inception we kind of babied into it. He told us about, then we found out, oh man, he's gone into 5 dreams. How the fuck that happened? He's gone into 5 different dreams with 5 different people. He babied us into that. And after watching it 100 times, I absolutely adore that movie. That movie is absolutely amazing, without a doubt. And then he did Interstellar, time, space, black holes, made me fall in love with science again. And didn't need too much explaining in that because the movie does it itself. But Tenet was a risk. He took a risk. It looked, as we all know, it looks amazing. Just the experience of viewing is quite difficult.
That's it. It's not a shit film though. I don't think anyone can say it's a shit film. It's just like so complicated. I didn't get it, so I couldn't really enjoy it.
Film,
I think that's what it is. Well, I'm assuming that's what it is. I can't talk for everyone, but I'm assuming that's what it is.
I don't know. It's a difficult one, but we'll leave it.
It felt like the kind of film that he wanted to make. I felt like he kind of went to the studio, kind of said, "Right, I've got enough credit in the bank. I've got enough hits. Let me make something a passion project for myself." That's the way I kind of view it. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dunkirk. Did you enjoy Dunkirk?
I love Dunkirk. Yeah, I watched that many times.
Brilliant the way he did that with time and time. He's obsessed with time. I think he's building a time machine. Sorry, I genuinely think he's building a time machine.
He's probably talking to Elon Musk right now. We're trying to figure it out together.
Trying to figure it out. Black holes, time. He wants to go back to a certain time. Bless. You know what, Nolan? We need to talk, man. I don't even know if you listen to podcasts. Anyway, but yeah, let's get off track before we dig ourselves a
Well,
deep
actually,
hole.
I wanted to ask you about your writing and the
Yeah.
reviews and stuff that you're doing, because obviously you shared earlier about how much emotion you got into it. Do you ever get nervous about writing a review and then sending it out and posting it and whatnot? How do you handle those emotions? How do you deal with that? Like if you do get nervous?
It's kind of difficult because you know, obviously when you're reading, you want to love everything you read. You want to love everything that you consume, from music and film and obviously comic books. And you know, there are some duds. There's some content out there that just isn't good. And I've like literally sat back after reading something and gone, I've got to write a review on this. So I suppose it's, you know, you channel it the same way you would channel your excitement. You kind of really try and compartmentalize the things that you really enjoyed, and you just you go for it like you're talking to your friends. You just write like you're talking to someone important to you, that you want them to read your work, your writing. So that's kind of how I tackle it for sure. There have been some books out there that I've absolutely adored, and I've ran away with it completely, and I've kind of filled up 2 pages or 3 pages of, you know, adoring words and analogies, waxing lyrical about something. And it's the same when it's something very negative as well. So yeah, I just try and compartmentalize how I feel, try and work through my emotions, give it a bit of time, and then just let it all out and try and write something cohesive. But yeah,
I
I
could
try to
imagine.
write things that I want for my friends to read and enjoy. That's the way that I
Yeah.
kind of
That's good.
do it for
That's
sure.
good. That's the
Yeah,
best.
because I could imagine you have to control your emotions and whatnot, because unlike me and kids, we like everything. And if something is shit, we're like, oh yeah, but we still liked it, right? We're too biased and whatnot. And but what you do in your reviews, you obviously love everything, but you
Yeah,
gotta have that balance of where you could be like, all right, I gotta control my emotions, even though it's my favorite character, my favorite whatever, and
It's
I
hard.
gotta give an honest opinion. Like it's same like, you know, with Kevin Smith and Mark Bernard. Kevin Smith loves everything. But
yeah,
then I think he strategically picked Mark Bernardin because there is someone there to just criticize it, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Cool, at least I got that balance." But that must be difficult because if you come across like, just say for example, Frank Miller Daredevil comic, and
yeah.
you didn't like it or you just didn't think something was good, you would have to take outside your biasy to be like, "All right, this is my honest review, like, and why I probably didn't like it or whatever."
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
No.
think it's so important. I think it's so important as well because there are, you know, I really enjoy hanging out with my contemporaries or the people that kind of do this thing as well. And I think it's so important to feel grateful for the position that we're in, and for the things that we get to experience and are allowed to do. But at the same time, it's important that we do put out an honest opinion. And sometimes it can feel very easy to completely just say something is fantastic, and that's not always beneficial for anyone, you know, for the
No, of
people that are
course not.
reading it and for the creators themselves. If criticism isn't allowed to kind of be out there, but in a very constructive way, then people can't kind of learn, or we get the great content that we get now.
You're not giving value, isn't it?
Yeah,
The main thing about what we do and how we do things is that you're going to get some sort of value from it. You know, be like, oh, you know what? I actually reviewed that comic book, and he was totally honest about it. But when they read it, they could be like, oh, you know what? I've picked out on a certain thing, so they can use their own initiative to say, you know, like when I say most of my reviews when I do movies or artwork or
mm,
anything like that, I
yeah,
say, look, it's just my opinion. This is just my opinion. This is how I feel about it. And it's true. I'd be like Kevin Smith as well. I love the shit out of everything, but there are moments where you're like, you need to get back in check. So having somebody who can give you that honesty will, is I think is really important. Anyway,
yeah,
Yeah, it's important about with anything, right? I know we're just talking about comic books or whatever, but anything in life, it's good to have that discussion and just hear it from the other perspective. Whether you agree or not, at least you can understand where that perspective is sort of coming from. Do you ever think if you was to give like a review of, I don't want to say negative, that's the wrong word to use, but something
yeah.
that, needs a bit of extra work on it, do you ever think how you would write it or how you would change that scene or that whatever to make it that could have made it better or sort of thing? Did that ever come across your mind?
I think first of all, what I would do is I would jump straight on Twitter and apologize. No, I think it's definitely, it's all about respect at the end of the day, and respecting the people that are reading your review or reading your work. And I don't know, I just try and give my opinion, but then I kind of like buffer it with all the good things that I've perhaps enjoyed about it, because I know I'm not talented enough to create my own material at the moment, or maybe ever will. So there's always going to be there's always going to be respect, because everyone goes into something wanting to give it their all. You know, like if you really dislike a movie, like I really didn't like The Rise of was it The Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah.
I didn't like that at all. But I know for a fact that everyone went into that movie wanting to make the best thing they can make. No one's in thinking I'm only gonna I'm gonna try and short shrift the audience. Everyone's going in wanting to give 100%. So that's in my mind a lot of the time. So whenever I am writing something, I always want to choose my words wisely. And if I do critique, it's gonna be from the heart. It's all about respect, but I don't want to ever slate anyone down so they never feel like they want to write again or anything like that. So that's
of course.
really the way I go from, for sure. I'm not talented enough to do any of this stuff that the people are doing out there.
That's what I say as well. Exactly. Yeah. It's such a hard graft, because who was it? Shit. It brought back a sharp pain memory, because I remember somebody coming up to me and says, "What did you think of Batman v Superman?" Okay, so that's a movie that's had its ups and downs.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna stand by the director because I'm a fan of his work, and you know, there's all sorts of attributes that are gonna get to it. But I realized then at the time what I was doing was it wasn't constructive, and I didn't say my wording right, and I was like, "You can't say that, man. Somebody put a lot of hard work into this, man. You can't be slating somebody's work like this." You know what I mean? You don't know the effort and the time that goes into something. I don't even know. I'm not even talented enough to know the amount of work and time and mental stress that goes into something like this. So you've got to respect it in a way where, can you do this, Joe? Can you do it? Then, you know, you can give me some sort of good feedback about it, because you have no idea how hard it is to push out something at that magnitude. You know what I mean? So you can't be giving back responses like that. And it's so important, as you said, it's giving it back in a constructive way, basically.
Yeah.
But it's so important. But it got to me, because I felt like, he's one of my mates, man.
I had the same conversation with someone about the Game of Thrones, the last season, or the last episode, should I say, which I admit wasn't fan pleasing at all, and everyone was pissed off. But someone was going in, and then I was just like, it's all right, it's not too bad. And I think I made a comment just saying, oh, here we go, because I just saw all the negative things about it, and then he got proper upset, and I was like, and then he. Like, we were talking in a group, I'm not gonna name names, and then he messaged me privately saying that he felt that I attacked him. I'm like, bro, I'm just joking. It's just Game of Thrones. There's no need to get upset about it. And he was just like, oh no, but I went to film school when I was in college and uni, and I was like, all right, cool. Like, it's good that you did that, but I don't still think that makes you an expert. Like, I train a martial art class doesn't mean I could fight a UFC fighter. You know what I mean? Like, just because you went to film school doesn't mean that you have all the rights to shit all over it and whatnot. But I think it's the same thing. It wasn't. I mean, look, I'm not gonna get into Game of Thrones, but I can appreciate the work and everything that's gone behind it, rather than just shit all over something. I think those are the worst ones, because you get two extremes, right? I think we're on one extreme, me and kids who just love the shit out of everything, and then you got the extreme where they just hate the shit out of everything. And you've kind of built that mind frame of the middle ground, and I think
the middle ground,
like you're able to control. I mean, I'm bringing it back to emotions, but I feel like you're able to control those emotions and find that balance, that yin and yang sort of balance of
force,
things.
man. He uses the force. I'm telling you.
Exactly. I could never do it with you, because to me it's a great movie. That's the two words that I always use. Great movie. I don't say nothing else, because I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
It's hard. Putting words together is hard. And like, even for me, like, I never ever, even just doing this right now, it's taken, I think, me and G-Man 3 years, and I absolutely love doing the podcast, and I absolutely recently love talking to you guys, because it's a pleasure getting to know you much more on a deeper level, and finding out how your process is as well. It's been fun, man. I never thought I'd be able to do this. I was a shy kid. I think most of us were shy kids. Like, now I'm coming to a point where I'm like, man, I love talking, man, and I love talking about stuff I love. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah,
The good thing about this is like there's no one telling us, there's no bosses, right? So we can dress how we want and we can talk how we want, we could swear and whatever, and we know each other, we're friends.
Yeah.
So, but if there was someone saying, "Oh, you can't say this and you have to sit like this and make sure your words are clear," I'll be nervous as shit. I can never do that. But YouTube, at least we're in a platform where YouTube allows us to do whatever the hell we want to do and say what we want to. Well, up to a limit, say what we want to say.
Limit, up to limit. I
And
have
be
to
comfortable.
put down now that we swear in our podcast. So, like profanity.
Hey, swearing is a form of expression, man. That's how I express myself. But
Oh,
yeah, it's so different. When I'm in a work meeting and it's with a client, oh God, I can't talk for shit. I hate it. I'm like, listen, don't add me to those calls because I don't like it. But if it's with this, I could talk to you guys all day and
Yeah.
express myself. So it does come different with the people you're talking to and how you can express yourself.
of course, definitely. All right,
I mean, I
cool.
find that I spend more time watching created content than I do television in this day and age. I always go to YouTube first, and that's the way I always start my day. You know, just watching the people that I like talking about the things that I love instead of flicking through the channels and what we used to do yesteryear when we were younger as kids.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. Well, I don't want to hold you too much, Ashley, but that kind of brings me to another question. Like, who do you watch, and who do you get your inspiration from? Like, be it an artist, a writer, whatever. Where you getting your inspiration from?
Oh gosh, I think in the world of sort of like reviews and sort of like punditry, I kind of like John Campier. He's a fine film YouTuber that I really enjoy. I like Robert My Burnett. They're kind of like my two go-to guys for sort of like movie content.
They're good.
Like yourselves, Kevin Smith, I think is an idol. I think now for a lot of the geek community. I mean, he's like on the Mount Rushmore of
He is.
voices that need to be heard. I love his stuff. You know, I've met him a bunch of times as well. So he's definitely a big influence, and he wrote one of my favorite Daredevil books of all time, Guardian Devil. I remember him saying, I think it was on an episode of Fat Man on Batman, where he was talking to Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, and he was talking about how Batman, The Dark Knight Returns that's the graphic novel that's scrunched up, that's got dog-eared, that's in his back pocket that he'll get out every so often. And I remember meeting him at one of the conventions in the UK, and I remember saying to him, I remember repeating that to him and saying, but for me, it's Guardian Devil.
Yeah.
That's me, the graphic novel that's in my back pocket that's dog-eared and
Yeah.
it's got like pages folded over and that for me. So yeah, Kevin Smith is a huge voice.
How was his reaction? Because I just knowing him, he probably got up and hugged you or something. How was his reaction to that?
I think he did, you know. I think I was very emotional at the time. I remember me being very emotional because I think it was just after he'd had his heart attack.
Yeah.
And
Oh, okay.
it really hit me for six because I mean he really is a leading light in this this space. Like I said, he's definitely on my Mount Rushmore of comic personalities.
Geek guru,
And just
man. Guy.
yeah, and to think that we may have lost him or we were close to losing him, I don't know how severe it was, but yeah, I got very emotional. So I kind of remember my own emotions more so than perhaps what he said to me. I was just grateful to be there and to be in front of the great man again for a second time. So anytime Kevin Smith's over in the UK, I will definitely flock to him and sing his praises. But yeah, Kevin Smith is another one. And just my contemporaries or, you know, my peers like you guys. I love listening to the podcast. I love listening to friendly voices, maybe on my commute or just on the TV at home, just talking about the things I love. So I've definitely learned to appreciate the people around me, the contemporaries, more so than the personalities that have been around for a while, you know, because the people that I'm listening to, like yourselves, all of my age group, you've experienced the same things that I have, come into the same interests as I have at the same time. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, YouTube has definitely opened my eyes up to a lot of incredible creators.
Awesome. That's awesome. I gotta say, I've got some good memories of like when we went to Hollywood Babylon.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was another one as well. And Jay and Silent Bob reboot. That was just magical, awesome. And Kevin for me is a big thing in what we do right now. And I think he basically inspired this podcast. Without that, him and Mark Bernardin. Mark Bernardin, I got enough love for that dude as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, they inspired this podcast and it's kept me and my brother in contact for since you moved, just a couple of years after you moved to Hong Kong. So it was a great way of us keeping in contact. Because what happens when people move abroad or friends move in far distance or live far is that you lose that connection. And us still geeking out and talking about things, and then suddenly saying, listening to Fat Man Beyond was like, why don't we just do this? And coming on 3 years now, and 2021 with having you on the show and being a guest as well, it's been a great honor, man. It's just been I'm emotional right now. I'm actually a little bit emotional because it was like we started this just two brothers geeking out to now we're getting people on here, and it's just lovely to share the experience with everybody else on here. So absolutely awesome.
No, much appreciated. Thank you for having me. I mean, it's all that I could have hoped it would be. So
brilliant. That's
Awesome.
good. That's good, man. All right, guys. Make sure you click on the description box because I've always got everybody's details in there. Click, follow Ashley Short on Twitter. I don't even know if you're on Instagram, dude. You are, ain't you?
I'm not just on Twitter. Just
Twitter. He makes Twitter. He makes
now.
Twitter, guys. Make sure you go follow him. Check out his reviews as well with Tasmin, the aspiring Kryptonian. He's got all of his stuff on there as well. G-Man, always a pleasure, bro.
Awesome. Of course, it was amazing talking to you guys. Ashley, it was good to catch up with you and good to hear that you're doing well and everything. And let's do this again, man, in the future, man. Let's review something epic in the future.
Why
Maybe,
are we brainstorming?
yeah, let's brainstorm. Maybe 4 hours of Justice League. Maybe we can catch up after it and get your thoughts.
Well, you know what? Because
I
think this is the next thing going on forward. Like, even for me personally, it was. I wish we started this earlier. Genuinely wish we started this earlier because I do love this catch up with more people now. But Ashley, I'm gonna get in contact with you for some other things for the future. So as we said, if we could plan something for after we've watched the Justice League, just to have a discussion,
that'd be lovely.
That would be awesome. So let's set that in stone now, and then for the guys who
keep this going.
Yeah, definitely. For the guys who listen to this on YouTube, you get to see our beautiful faces. Look at these handsome guys. Yeah. If you're fed up of seeing our faces, then you can listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes Podcast, and Spotify. Ashley, I can't thank you enough for joining us on today's show. Massive pleasure. G-Man, have a wonderful time.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
And I'll catch you guys up soon.
Peace.